Everyone, and welcome to the Project Cars 2 Formula C Championship, where of course we will be racing around the Hockenhiemring today. A classic track in the history of motorsport, and I'm sure after what was a very exciting last round of the championship, hopefully we are in for another thriller tonight. But I'll quickly go through the championship standings before we start here, with obviously Nemesis Racing taking the first race of the last round, and then Ragno winning race 2. The championship standings are as follows. We've got Nemesis Racing leading the championship on 65 points, Chazza in second on 61 points, Murcielago on 53 points in third, Mark on 48 points in fourth, Ragno in fifth place on 47, Blizzard on 46 points in sixth. So from fourth to sixth, separated by 2 points there. Wow, so it's very close in the midfield. And then we go back a little bit to Galactic Skull in seventh, who is on 24 points. Beamer Black is on 19 points, Kadeshi is on 14 points, Kevin Jacobs is on 13, and Altanovic is on 12, JFD is on 16 points, Danny Bin Lahar is on 13, and sadly Lord George won't be joining us here, and will remain on 0 points so far in the championship, as of course we've got our first few cars coming out on track, and we will stay on this trackside camera of Nemesis Racing, as he certainly will stay on board with the will stay trackside with the championship leader, as he is expected to be one of the favourites for tonight's race here. Of course, this first qualifying session and the first race is in dry conditions, but then the second qualifying session and the second race will be in mixed conditions, in random conditions. So that will certainly be exciting, as SGT Strike says, "Hey Hayden," and hello to you. Oh, was someone disconnected from the lobby here? Because we had 9 just when I was checking before, but now we have 8. I'll try and see who that was. It looks like it's been VSR Blizzard who has disconnected or has left, because I did see in the chat before him saying that he might only be able to do one race, so it might have been him having to go off, which is quite sad. Are you not driving? No, I am the commentator for the Formula C league, as we are looking at Nemesis through turn 1, which is certainly a difficult corner, certainly a lot more difficult to get right in the Formula 1 car instead of in these Formula C cars, but still a very difficult corner nonetheless, as now Nemesis comes on to the straight here at Hockenheim, and heading down of course to the best overtaking opportunity on the track, which is the hairpin. It looks like a fairly clean lap at the moment for the championship leader, so we'll go on board with him now. That's the right camera. Still getting a bit used to this, that's for sure. As Nemesis is about to start heading into the stadium section, of course. Certainly the most difficult part of this track, that is for sure, but it looks like he's been quite, he's not really pushing hard at the moment. It looks like he's just trying to get a lap on board as he goes through the Sachs curve and now it's coming up to the final couple of corners, as of course we're starting to get our few first lap times in, which I will read out after Nemesis has completed this lap as he comes through the last corner. What time is the championship leader going to set here? It is going to be a 1:45.7, 2/10 behind Mark, who is currently on provisional pole. Oh, and who's that ahead of Nemesis, who is absolutely just spun into the wall there? It might have been Murcielago there, I don't know, but anyway, Mark is currently on pole with a 45.4, then Murcielago in third, just behind Nemesis. Then we've got Ragnar in fourth, so the top four separated by 3/10, very close at the front, which is what we like to see. Chazza is 1.7 seconds off Mark on pole, and then you've got Anel a further 3 seconds behind. Galactic Skull in 13th, who doesn't look like he's going to set another time, and then JFD, who has also not set time as he has invalidated his lap. So, will anyone be able to pull something special out of the bag on their last lap here to claim pole position? We'll go on board with someone else here now. We'll go on board with Murcielago as he's coming through the last corner now. Will Murcielago be able to do anything about Mark and Nemesis' times ahead of him? No, he's improved slightly, but is still going to be behind as Mark sets a 1:44.1. Wow! What a banging absolute lap time that is by Mark. A superb lap, but will Nemesis, who I did say looked like to be going a little bit slowly and could improve a lot. Now let's see what he is going to be able to produce here. Is he going to be able to get anywhere near Mark? No, he only improves by 0.2 of a second, and it is Mark who has got pole position by a whopping 1.3 seconds. What an absolutely stunning lap that is by Mark. And then we have Nemesis, of course, in second. Wow, that's quite an incredible lap time there by Mark. We've got Murcielago in third, Ragno in second, Anel Tanovic in fifth, Chazza in sixth, and Galactic Skull in seventh, with JFD in last place. So wow, it's going to take some effort to stop Mark here today, or certainly in this first race in the dry conditions, as I see Danny Bin Lahar in the chat saying hi, and I will of course say hello back to you there, Danny. Good to see you joining us, and thanks to everyone who is joining us at the moment as we are waiting on the grid. We're just waiting for the lights. And here we go. We're about to get underway here in race 1 of round 4 of this championship. And it is lights out and away we go. It looks like Mark has got a good jump and looks like he will maintain his position leading into turn 1. Is he? Yes, indeed he is. Indeed he has maintained his lead. But now, will Murcielago Nemesis be able to challenge him down here into turn 2? No, once again it looks like Mark is still well ahead, but it looks like someone was trying to go around the outside of him there. Murcielago indeed. Let's see if he will be able to do anything, as it looks like we've lost another driver. It looks like Anel Tanovic has disconnected from the session, sadly, so that's a bummer, but we will now keep on this camera, as it looks like Murcielago is going to have the inside. Oh, and it looks like there was a bit of contact there. It looks like someone's ploughed into the back of Mark. Oh, and there's been some more contact. Lots and lots of contact. And it looks like the big loser out of that was Mark, after there was some contact. Oh, and there's... Jeez, this is crazy racing. And it looks like Ragno has made it the move stick there on Mark and is up into P3. This is exactly what Mark didn't want after he's taken pole by 1.3 seconds. But it looks like Ragno will be able to maintain this position, or will Mark be able to cut underneath on the inside of him? Is he going to try and look to go around the outside at the Sachs curve? No, it looks like Ragno has gone deep there. there might have been contact, but it certainly didn't look like it on my screen. Wow, what a chaotic start to this race we have had. But it is Nemesis who is going to finish the first lap in the lead, nearly a second ahead of Murcielago, followed by Mark, and then JFD, and then of course Chazza right up the bum of JFD there through turn 1. Will Chazza be able to set up a move coming into the second corner and at the end of the straight potentially, as it looks like we had Ragnar running a bit wide through that difficult turn 1, and it looks like Chazza has made the move down the inside there of JFD. A good move there by Chazza, and he is now up into P4, but it looks like JFD does have a penalty because he's got that red little thing next to his name, so he's got a penalty of some sort, does JFD there, as we'll go on board with, oh, it looks like the battle for the lead then was heating up as Nemesis and, oh, and there's contact there between with Chazza and JFD, as I've just seen in the background. Murcielago got very close in the timings there to Nemesis, that's why I quickly went on board with him, but once again it looks like Chazza will maintain his 4th place over JFD, as Ragnar is certainly starting to close up on these two now after the battle that they have had over this past lap and a half, and indeed it looks like Ragnar now is starting to mount some pressure on JFD for 5th place, but it looks like now more than ever, oh, and JFD has gone a bit wide, and it looks like, oh, okay, Ragnar has not done the same thing and has absolutely pulled a brilliant move around the outside of the Sachs curve there on JFD, and has moved himself up into P5, as we have lost another driver from the session, as now we only have 6 drivers, but there is still certainly plenty of action, as we will now go on to the closest battle on track, and that is Mark and Murcielago, as it looks like now Murcielago has gone wide, and it has allowed Mark to go up into P2, and Mark's pace is certainly looking very, very good at this stage of the race. But let's see if Murcielago will be able to do anything coming down into the hairpin about Mark's 2nd place. It looks like he is going to be a bit too far back here, but who knows, he could dive it, but Murcielago, the experienced driver that he is on this game, decides not to, and Mark is still comfortably in P2 there, as it looks like we are having some more battling behind, as it looks like Ragnar is now starting to close up on Chazza. Of course, these two had a great battle for the win at the last round of the championship, and it does look like Ragnar has the pace over Chazza here at the moment. As they now head into the stadium section, Ragnar, will he look to go for that move around the outside of the Sachs curve, as he's looked like the last couple of times he's gone through there? No, he hasn't been able to there. But wow, this has been quite an exciting start to this race, as Mark has just made the gap under a second to Nemesis, and Mark is absolutely flying. He is 1.7 seconds quicker than Nemesis on that previous lap, as we'll now go on board with Mark, as he is now right up behind the Italian. Trying to get these silly camera things to change. Right, but we are trackside, of course, with Mark. Will he look to make a move on Nemesis? Oh, looks like there's been a bit of contact there. It looks like he had pushed Nemesis wide, but Mark, being the gentleman that he is, has indeed stayed behind Nemesis there for P2, but we'll go. Oh, as Mark got very close in the braking zone there. I was about to say, as we might go on board with Chazza and Ragnar, who is still battling behind us, but no, we will not do that, actually. as the battle for the lead is more important, as it looks like Mark is going to have a look around the outside as Nemesis goes defensive into the Sachs curve, and Mark is surely putting, he's certainly putting a lot of pressure on Nemesis at the moment. Will Nemesis be able to handle the pressure? As we now go on board with Mark through turn 1, which is where he gained a lot of time on the previous lap. Not so much there. He's gained a little bit. Oh, as Nemesis has gone a tad bit wide. Will Mark look to make the move down the inside into this corner? No, he's not, but Nemesis has ran a little bit wide, and surely this will give Mark the best opportunity he's had so far to make the move on the Italian. Will he look to make the move up at the next hairpin? Sorry for that hiccup, guys. Will Mark make the move here into the hairpin? Nemesis is going defensive, but Mark is still going to go down the inside. Will Mark be able to get the job done? It looks like he is going to be able to, but Nemesis has got a beautiful cutback on, and let's see what is going to happen here between the two. It looks like Mark has got the lead, but will Nemesis look to make a move up the inside? It looks like he thinks better of it and has let Mark go. Nemesis, with some smart driving there, didn't risk his front wing, and that has promoted Mark into P1 after a brilliant move up the inside at the hairpin, and it looks like he is building that gap to Nemesis already, with already an 8/10 for second lead. But we'll go on board with Chazza and Ragno as they're now side by side coming into the Sachs curve. Ragno has got the inside line, and it looks like, or that might be the lag, of course, it looks like Ragno went in the gravel a little bit once again there, you know. Can't really tell exactly what happens from these shots because, of course, these guys are in Europe, I am in Australia, so the lag is pretty bad. But it certainly looks like Chazza will have to put up a very good effort to hold Ragno off, as Ragno has now been on Chazza's tail for quite some laps. As Galactic Skull is saying, my throttle was only going to be 60%. Wow. Well, that's certainly not what you want at this track, so that's very unfortunate for Galactic Skull. And we have Danny saying, I can't believe I'm missing this race. By the way, I can only watch the stream when my girlfriend is not paying attention. I like that. I like that dedication that is shown here by Danny. As I thought Mark might have pulled away from Nemesis, but looks like Nemesis is keeping Mark quite honest here, staying within a second of Mark here at the moment. But we'll once again go on board with Chazza and Ragno as they head into the stadium section. It is Chazza ahead of Ragno at the moment in P4. But will Ragno go for his move up the inside or around the outside of the Sachs curve, as he's been trying to do a whole race to everyone? No, he hasn't been able to this time, as Chazza maintains track position there. But we'll now go on. Right, where are we? This camera thing is so difficult to use, as it looks like we've got a bit of a timing glitch there with Nemesis, so that's a bit annoying there. But it looks like Chazza is at the moment holding Ragno off, as we've got 4 minutes left in this race. Galactic Skull is saying now in the chat, but I fixed it now, thankfully. Well, that is good news, that you'll now be able to race with full throttle. I think that might help, so that is very good, as Ragno is getting closer to Chazza here. Will he be able to make the move at the hairpin, as Chazza does go defensive into the corner? Will Ragno be able to make anything happen? No, it doesn't quite look like it, but Ragno does have a very good run out of that hairpin and will try to make the move onto Chazza into the next corner. Chazza goes very defensive as Ragnar will now look to go around the outside. Is he going to be able to pull out the move? No, not quite. He gets stuck on that curb. And that is very well defended there by Chazza as he maintains P4 of this race. Very good defensive driving there by Chazza. He's certainly going to need to maintain that sort of driving to keep this P4. But this is certainly the closest battle on track, as of course we only have 6 cars racing at the moment, and it looks like Mark is very comfortable in the lead as we see him going into turn 2. But we'll quickly go back on board. We'll go back to Chazza and Ragno here, just in case anything happened through turn 1, but indeed there has been nothing that happened. So we will go back on board with Mark, who has now got a comfortable 2.5 second lead over Nemesis Racing here, and then further back is Murcielago in third, who is about 5 seconds off Nemesis. And then further back, of course, we have Chazza and Ragnar, who have been battling seemingly all race long for this 4th place, and it looks like Ragnar isn't going to go down without a fight here for this P4. I tell you what, Ragnar does seem to get a very good run out of that corner, but he is not as close as he was on the last lap to Chazza, that is for sure. But he got a bit close there to Chazza in the braking zone, but will he be able to do anything coming into the stadium section? Or it looks like he may be able to make a move down the inside into the stadium section. No, too risky to go down the inside there, that's for sure. But coming into the Sachs curve is another matter, where he's been trying to go around the outside of every driver so far this race. Will he be able to finally make the move stick? No, not quite. Chazza with some good defensive driving there, not allowing Ragno the space there, but not pushing him off the track at the same time. Clean, fair driving between these two, as Ragnar is now certainly putting the pressure on Chazza now as they head down into turn 1 of what will be the final lap of the race, I believe. Depends how far Mark is, of course, up the road. It's 13 seconds, yeah, so that should be the last lap of the race. But we will now well, I'm trying to get these cameras working, but yeah, it's a pain in the bum. Right, here we go. As we'll now go on board with Ragno down to the hairpin as he is gaining on Chazza, but it looks like he will be too far back to make any move into the hairpin. Oh, and saying that, he's completely outbroken himself and hit the back of Chazza there. Well, just as I was saying it looked like he was too far back, he absolutely sent it and hit the back of Chazza. So it looks like now that will mean that Chazza maintains P4, but now we'll go on board with Mark as he goes through the Sachs curve for the final time in this race. And it looks like everything is settled and calmed down behind us, as this will be a very dominant display by Mark after a whopping lap to take pole position. And it is indeed Mark who wins race 1 of round 4 of this round. Congratulations to Mark, that is a brilliant drive, and he deserved that after his brilliant lap 4 pole position. As of course Nemesis finished 2nd, Murcielago has finished 3rd, Chazza has finished 4th ahead of Ragnar, who are battling all race long, and it is JFD who will finish in P6, as we are just waiting for him to come through the final corner now, as there we have it. And that is race 1 all wrapped up. A dominant display there by Mark. Fastest lap, the win and pole position for race 1. But of course, is going to be some different conditions more than likely, as we have random weather selected for qualifying, for the second qualifying and race 2 tonight. So of course, knowing this game, there will probably be some rain and some fog. So be interesting to see if Mark can also maintain that dominance through those conditions, if we do have that. But it's good to see a couple of drivers join back after we only had, of course, 6 drivers. Well, it's only been a Galactic Skull join back so far. Hopefully there are some other drivers who can join back and not make just 7 of us racing, because of course I'm including that in that 8 at the top of your screen. Yep, Danny's saying what a battle between Ragnar and Chazza. Indeed, that was a very good battle between Chazza and Ragnar. Galactic Skull saying heavy fog. Lol. Yep, I would not be surprised, and that will certainly make my job as a commentator a lot harder, as I won't be able to see much from the trackside cameras. Right, as we are waiting here, I will just take a short break. I'll be back in about 30 seconds, so I will leave you guys to it for a little moment here. And it looks like we are only going to have 7 drivers for the second race at the Hockenhiemring. A bit disappointing, but oh well, there's not much we can do about that, as a few of the drivers are readying up now. As of course we are waiting for Nemesis to give us the green thumbs up. Wait, what's Galactic said here? Kevin is on the wrong game. Is he on GT Sport or something? What's he doing? Well, Danny, that is something that you could do, lad, but I don't think so. I don't think so. Yep, as of course we are heading into our second qualifying session here with random weather, which is the most important thing here. This could throw... who knows who could get pole. Oh, he's on F1. Kevin, what are you doing, lad? You got to be racing in this on Project Cars 2 Formula C. Come on, mate. Disappointing by Kevin there, of course, but oh well. Right, as we are loading into the session, and let's see what weather we have in store for the second qualifying session of round 4. And whoa! It is dry! What is this? What is this? This is scandalous. How can it be dry? I don't think I've ever seen this before. Dry on random weather? Wow. So I think it looks like certainly the favourite for this session once again, unless Nemesis and the others massively improved. The favourite for pole position here is Mark, and of course Galactic Skull saying dry for now. Yes, indeed, dry for now, because who knows what can happen with the weather in the actual race itself. Of course, it is good to see Galactic Skull back in the session after his throttle issues, where he was only having 60% of his throttle, which are certainly not what you need when you're trying to race a race car. So it's good to see him joining, meaning we'll have 7 cars for this qualifying session, and more than likely for the race, unless we have some unfortunate disconnections. As we are just waiting for Mark to start his lap. The expectations are heavily on Mark here, that's for sure. We are expecting him to take this pole after getting pole by 1.3 seconds the last time out here, as he is about to start his lap here. As he heads down into turn 1, we'll be able to keep it on the track out of the corner, which is also easy to run wide through there, and he's kept it on the track very nicely there indeed. As I think we'll go on board here with Mark just for the better view instead of the trackside view. Ragnar has invalidated his lap time. Hopefully he will have some more time remaining to set another lap, otherwise that might mean Ragnar starting 7th, which won't be good for the Italian. But we are now coming down into the hairpin with Mark, as he has taken that hairpin very nicely indeed. You don't really need to hit the apex for that corner. So once again, a very clean and very good lap so far here by Mark. Now, will he be able to maintain it through the rest of the second sector and coming into the stadium section in a short moment, as he heads through this tricky right-hander where it's so easy to run wide, but he does a very good job of not doing that, as we now do indeed head into the stadium section on board here with Mark, our race 1 winner. Everything is looking clean and smooth here as he heads into the Sachs curve, using the track very well. There is Mark, and let's see as he heads into the penultimate corner, very nicely opening up that last corner to try and carry the maximum speed through the corner and on it to the start finish straight. What lap time is Mark going to set? It's going to be 1:44.5, so still some more time here for Mark to find compared to his first pole position, if I remember correctly. I actually can't remember what lap time he set, so I'll quickly go back in the stream and see what lap time he set. But it is currently Mark half a second ahead of Nemesis, 1.2 seconds ahead of Murcielago, 1.3 seconds ahead of Chazar. Oh, and it looks like Galactic Skull has left the session once more. So unfortunate for the Scot. So indeed it looks like we're only going to be racing again with 6. But JFD in 5th, and then Ragnar, who had his lap time invalidated, in 6th at the moment. Now what time did Mark set for his pole lap? I set a 1:44.1, so there is a little bit of time left on the table for Mark, as he has got a car in front of him. So hopefully that car does not bother him in his final attempt here before the session will be over. And it certainly looks like another clean and fast lap here by Mark, Will he be able to improve on his lap time of a 1:44.5? He sets a 1:43.7! Oh my days! Mark! What are you doing? Oh, and it's Nemesis with a 143.6, who has taken provisional pole position, and it doesn't look like anyone else will be able to improve on that. Wow! I was not expecting that. Wow! What a lap time there by both Nemesis and Mark. Wow! A 1:43.6. That is absolutely rapid. Rapid. Oh, and as expected, we have the heavy rain. Now this will add some fireworks to this race, that is for sure, because anyone can win now. Wow, what an important pole position Nemesis has taken there, with a spectacular lap to beat Mark's benchmark, which was a 1:43.799. Wow, what a lap, as we are now just about ready to get underway for this race, and it is lights out and away we go, and it looks like Nemesis has made a very good start there and has immediately covered off the inside down into turn 1 ahead of Mark, and this looks like Mark is being challenged by Murcielago there, and it looks like indeed Murcielago has been able to move up ahead of Mark. No, well, it looks like it into turn 1, but coming out of turn 1, Mark has been able to retake that position, as it looks like Ragno has made a move there on Chazza, but it is getting chaotic here with Mark and Murcielago, as I think it was Murcielago who ran a little bit wide, but Murcielago is now right up behind Mark. Will he look to make a move down the inside? No, but it looks like Mark has covered off the inside line. It looks like Murcielago is going to try and go around the outside, and he has done it. It looks like Murcielago has made the move stick. Oh, and there's been some contact. And Mark has come to an absolute standstill for whatever reason in the middle of the track. And that has cost Mark some huge amount of time there, as it looks like Ragno and Murcielago are going side by side. And Ragno is now up into P2. Oh, but they're both gone off, as I'm sure there's going to be some heavy puddles out there on the track, like we seen last time out. Wow, what a start to this race, as Mark, after some contact with someone, I don't know who it is. Oh, Murcielago has run wide there, and everyone is running wide here. Everyone is really struggling with these conditions, as it looks like Mark is now up into P3 in front of Chazza with a nice move up the inside of the Sachs curve. But after what has been a chaotic start to this race, oh, never mind, I'll go back to Mark and Chazza, they look like they are battling it out here for that third position. But after the chaotic lap 1, it is Nemesis who leads from Ragno, who is ahead of Mark. Oh, and Chazza has gone down the inside of turn 1 very opportunistically there. It looks like Mark has run wide, indeed he has. And now that promotes Murcielago up into P4. Oh, this has not been a great start to the race for our previous race winner here in these heavy rain conditions here at the Hockenhiemring. This has not been a good start. Oh, and Mark with a lovely move up the inside of Murcielago there. But it looks like Murcielago is all up the back of Mark, heading down once more into the hairpin. It looks like Mark is indeed going very defensive, and it looks like even though he did go defensive, Murcielago is going to have a look up the inside, and Mark is going to try and go around the outside of Murcielago. Will he be able to make that move stick? It does indeed. He's got the better run into the corner compared to Murcielago there. Oh, as JFD's had a moment in the background there. Wow, this is oh, and these drivers are getting all very close to each other, as I thought Mark and Murcielago might have ran into the back of Chazza there. But wow, Nemesis with a 4-second gap, pretty much a 3.5 second 3-second gap. Oh, what's happened to Nemesis? He might have gone in the gravel up ahead. I don't know. It was nearly a 4-second lead. Now it's 3 seconds. This has certainly been a very, very, very chaotic start to this race, as we have had the pole sitter drop dramatically down to P5 at one stage after his car got spun around and then stopped very weirdly in the middle of the track at the hairpin on the very first lap. But he has now made up he's made up one position on Murcielago and is in P4. And of course Mark was battling with Chazza for a little bit, as Chazza did make a very ambitious and brilliant move up the inside, as it looks like Ragno is now falling into the depths of Chazza, Mark and Murcielago. So we are about to have a 4-way battle for second place here, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, as Mark and Chazza are getting very, very close behind Ragno here, as the sprays just starts out of nowhere, as we are now on the run down to the hairpin. Mark has got the inside line here on Chazza. Will he be able to make the move up the inside of Chazza? Yes, it does look so. Chazza looks to go for a switchback, but I do not think that will work, as now Mark has promoted himself up into P2, just behind Ragno. But I don't think this was quite over here with Chazza and Marcus. Chazza, will he look for a move up the inside? No, he definitely thinks better of it. As Ragno runs wider, he gets on the curb, and that should allow Mark and Chazza to go ahead of Ragno. A costly error there by Ragno, which has allowed Mark and Chazza to go ahead of Ragno for second and third place respectively. Oh, and there's some cone collecting there in the background with Ragno and Murcielago. Oh, and Mark goes very defensive there into the Sachs curve. He maybe thought that Chazza was lining up a move there. Wow, this has certainly been a very exciting race thus far, as we've got 4 cars separated by just a second, as you can see in that picture right there. But I need to have a bit of a water break. As Mark goes very wide there through the first corner, and that should allow Chazza to have an opportunity here into turn 2. But Mark once again goes defensive. He's going to make Chazza do all the work going around the outside to get past him, and it does not look like that's worked out, as we've had some more cone collecting. Jeez, we love our cone collecting today, guys, don't we? But it looks like Mark, after his little mistake into turn 1 there, he's going to survive the onslaught of Chazza here and keep his second place. Oh, what's happened to Nemesis there? Looks like he might have had a little half spin. Oh no, he was just... Always, we've had some contact behind. And who's that? It's gone... Ragno is now somehow up into third place. There must have been... I don't know, Chazza might have made a mistake there. Sorry guys, I thought that the leader of the race had gone off track, but it didn't look like he had done so. But now we see Ragno and Murcielago in front of Chazza, as Chazza is making... No, that's not even Chazza. Chazza's back here. As Murcielago... Oh, this is absolutely... This is chaotic. I don't even know which drivers are which. It doesn't help with the heavy spray that we are having at the moment. But... Oh, as Chazza is getting right up the back there of Ragno. Looks like there might have been a little bit of contact. There's now this Murcielago who's in P3, and Chazza is near enough pushing Ragno through these last couple of corners. Will the Brit try to make a move on the Italian down into turn 1 like he did with Mark? No, not this time, but it does look like Ragno is going to run wide, and that is going to present Chazza with the opportunity to move up into P4. And that is a very comfortable move after that mistake there by Ragno, to head up into P4. But now he will have to hunt down Murcielago, who was behind both of these guys not too long ago. But we have Mark closing in a little bit at the front on Nemesis. As we've seen, he closed the gap by 0.7 of a second on that previous lap. As Chazza has... Oh, and Murcielago has gone very wide there. He's gone off the track. And that might just allow Chazza to be able to get back into contact there with Murcielago. And indeed, it looks like now that will present Chazza with the opportunity to stay with Murcielago. Oh, as Murcielago has gone wide over the curbs. Will this allow Chazza to go around the outside into this tricky right-hander? Oh, is he going to be able to do it? They're side by side. There's a little bit of contact as they're now heading to the stadium section. Side by side, Murcielago with the inside line, so he should be able to maintain and keep the corner there. But will Chazza be able to do anything about it going down into the Sachs curve now? No, as it looks like Ragnar is closer. Chazza must have hit a bit of water there. But now the gap is really closing up at the front. With Mark now just about 2.5 seconds behind our race leader. Oh, as Chazza and Ragnar once again are getting very, very, very close. They have had some battle in these two races here at the Hockenhiemring. As Chazza has run wide, and will that allow Ragnar? But no, Ragnar has gone wide as well, so that will not allow. Oh, but Murcielago has even made a bigger mistake there, which I've not seen. Well, Chazza's looking to make the move around the outside, but no, he's not been able to quite do it. As Chazza now is looking to go down the inside, no, not quite. But now we are heading down towards the hairpin, as it looks like Chazza and Ragnar are side by side, and it looks like Chazza might just get stuck behind Murcielago here. But Murcielago has gone defensive on Ragnar, and it's going to be nearly 3 wide down here into the hairpin. Oh, and it looks like there's been some contact there between Ragnar and Murcielago. It looks like Ragnar had hit Murcielago there. And that is going to allow Ragnar up into P3 after he was the one who made the contact in the first place. Oh, but never mind, Chazza, and oh, this is absolutely chaotic. Chazza ran wide there. Oh, and it looks like there's been some more contact there between these drivers. Ragnar and Murcielago looked like they'd made more contact as Chazza goes around the outside of Murcielago there. A brilliant move there by Chazza after the weird contact that Ragnar and Murcielago had just a couple of corners later. But it looks like Chazza had gone a bit wide there. And yes, oh, there's some more contact, more bumping as Murcielago's on the grass. As Chazza looks to go around the outside of the Sachs curve, is he going to be able to make the move stick? No, not quite. Oh, has he still got the inside line, actually? Oh, what a brilliant move this will be by Chazza if he's able to make it stick. And yes, what a move that is by Chazza. A brilliant move around the outside of the Sachs curve, and he's been able to maintain it through those last couple of corners in the stadium section to take P4 away from Murcielago. But they are side by side now into turn 1, and oh, Murcielago has now gone down the inside of turn 1. Well, we are having some brilliant racing here at the moment between these two, and that looks very weird. It looks like Murcielago was going about 2 miles an hour on my screen there. But it is Mark who is now starting to get closer and closer to Nemesis Racing here at the front. He's now within 2 seconds of the Italian. Will Mark be able to mount the challenge in the last couple of minutes of this race, as we of course have Murcielago and Chazza side by side, but we have Chazza with the inside line. Murcielago trying to make the move stick around the outside, and it has been quite comfortable there for Chazza to hold on to his position there. But after that insane amount of battling with Murcielago and Chazza, it looks like it has allowed Ragnar to escape comfortably into P3 unless he makes a mistake. He is going to have P3 all wrapped up as Chazza runs a little bit wide there, didn't get on the curb, which would have cost him more time. But these two drivers are certainly very, very close on track. As you can see, JFD struggling there in the background. Wow. Well, but it looks like Mark now has indeed dropped a little bit further back. I don't know if he's made a mistake on this lap. He more than likely has. So he's now about 4 seconds behind Nemesis at the front of this race. Yes, he's done a 149 where he's usually been in the 147. So a mistake there by Mark is looking like it's going to cost him any chance of a second race win here tonight. But of course we are on board, well, we're trackside with Murcielago, who runs very wide, and it looks like it's almost got him a better run out of the corner than Chazza by going a million miles wide off of the track there. But this is of course the closest battle on track now, and will Murcielago be able to do anything on what will be the final lap of the race? It does, however, look like he is far, far back from Chaz, and doesn't look like he will be able to do anything, at least into the hairpin. There's still half a lap to go here. Murcielago still might be able to make a move here, as it looks like he is just completely driven straight off the track there. And look, from my view there, it didn't look like he made any effort at all to even stay on the track. Very, very odd indeed. But will Chaz be able to keep it on the track and off of that curb going into that corner? Yes, indeed. So that looks like that will be wrapped up. But now we'll go on board with our current race leader, Nemesis Racing, as he comes through the Sachs curve for the final time. Now coming through the last couple of corners, now coming through the penultimate corner, and now through the last corner, and it is going to be another race victory for the Italian, who's going to extend his lead in the championship over the rest of the field. A brilliant display in qualifying and race 2 by Nemesis, who has won over Mark, and it looks like everything is settled down behind us. So what a performance there by Nemesis, beating Mark, taking that ridiculous pole position, just over a tenth by Mark in qualifying, and then he's been able to replicate that in the race, winning by a couple of seconds over Mark, with Ragno in P3, who took advantage of Chazza and Murcielago squabbling over each other. Chazza in P4 after he had some brilliant battles with Ragno and Murcielago all race long seemingly, and of course Murcielago in P5, and then JFD some of a ways back in P6. But what an exciting and enthralling battle we have had here at Hockenheim. Sadly, we only had 6 drivers for both races after a few drivers had some issues, but these races tonight certainly didn't disappoint, and it has been the Italian Nemesis who has extended his lead in the championship. Of course, the official championship standings will be released on the Nemesis Online Racing website in the coming days, and on Twitter, of course. So keep your eyes peeled for those when they come out on Twitter and on the website. But a race win and a pole for both Mark and for Nemesis, as they were both brilliant in their displays tonight. But that concludes round 4 of the Project Cars 2 Formula C NORL Championship here, and it has been me, Niblo, here, and thank you once again everyone for coming along to this race, and I hope you all have a brilliant day, morning, night, wherever you are, and goodbye.